Oh, no, that's not okay. No. Oh, they don't do the slide thing anymore? Oh, cool. We're on.
We're on. Let's do it.
All right. Good morning, everybody. It's a pleasure to see y'all. We're going to do some songs for y'all. We hope you enjoy. All right. Three and hallelujah, hallelujah.
Oh, the Lord God Almighty reigns. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. All the
I've come, and I hope by thy good pleasure safely to arrive at home. Jesus sought me when a stranger, wandering from the throne of God. He to rescue me from danger interposed his precious blood. Oh, to praise how great a debtor daily I constrain to be. Oh, let thy goodness like a fetter bind my wandering heart to thee. Prone to wander, Lord, I feel it. Prone to leave the God I love. Here's my heart, Lord, take and seal it for thy courts above. Here's my heart, Lord, take and seal it for thy courts above.
I've been broken, cast aside, near forgotten, told to hide. That doesn't matter what you feel inside, because of what you've done for me. I have made it through. As long as you are here for me, I'll be here for you. I've been broken, cast aside, near forgotten, told to hide, told it doesn't matter what you feel inside, but because of what you've done for me, I have made it through, made it through. As long as you are here for me, I'll be here for you. As long as you are here for me, I'll always be here for you. As long as you are here for me, I'll always be here for you. As long as you are here for me,
I'll always be here for you. As long as you are here for me, I'll always be
here for you. As long as you are here for me, I'll always be here for you.
As long as you are here
For me, I'll always be here for you. As long as you are here for me,
I'll always be
here for you.
As long as you are here for me, I'll always be here for you.
I'm broken, cast away, near forgotten, torn aside, told it doesn't matter what you feel inside, because of what you've done for me. I have made it through, made it through. As long as you are here for me, I'll be here for you. take this opportunity to greet your neighbor. Get up, shake hands, whatever you feel comfortable with. Just let them all know that you're glad to be here. And as long as we're here for you, as long as you are here for me, I'll always be here for you. As long as you are here for me.
I'll always be here for
I love you. Caleb, you're awesome. So that last song Caleb wrote, yeah, that's a Caleb original.
Oh, thank you.
I love that. Sounded awesome this morning, man. Thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure.
Thank you. And by the way, y'all follow Caleb, the human DJ?
Oh, no, God.
Yeah, I'm telling you, y'all follow Caleb, the human DJ. You are on Instagram and Facebook and everything, and you will find him on the streets. You'll find him on the streets, like in Decatur, randomly as you come out of a restaurant, and it's like, oh my God, there's Caleb. He's playing on the streets. It's amazing. So he's awesome. So thank you, Caleb, for leading us this morning. You're wonderful.
Glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So my name is Ethan Waters. My dad is the founding pastor here at Village Church, Ray, and he is excited to be coming back from California, which is where I have another brother who lives out there, and they've been out there for a couple weeks, so he'll be back and is anxiously waiting to come back. But I have been tasked to continue this relationship series, and so I look out in the room, and I know just about all of you, and all of y'all are more qualified, I think, to give this talk than I am going to do this morning, but we'll get through it. So I've titled this talk this morning, Family Matters. Family Matters. And in my life, I've seen some of the greatest acts of human kindness in the family, and I have also seen some of the worst displays of human behavior in families. Have y'all ever been to like the ballpark for like little league kids baseball games? Yeah, have you? Yeah, you can see that's an interesting place. That is, you can see good and bad there. And I don't want to be a hypocrite, so I want you to know I have done some really good things, I think, in our family, and we'll talk a little bit about that today. I have also made some colossal mistakes, some just boneheaded, like, what are you doing type mistakes in my family. So I just want to be up front. Two kind of big things as we get started. And the first thing is this, that the family is God's idea. We believe that here, that the family is not something that we invented, that we really think that this was God's idea the whole time. Like, God is absolutely for it. We see this early in the scriptures, Genesis chapter 2. The Bible says this, it says, "Now the Lord God said, it is not good or beneficial for the man to be alone," talking about Adam, "and I will make him a helper," or one who balances him, a counterpart who is suitable and complementary for him. And whenever people gather around together in love, we think a family is formed. Jesus would talk about that. He says, when two or more are gathered, I am in your presence. So that's the first kind of big idea, is we think the family is important because God is for it. So we believe that. Second big idea is this, in a perfect environment. You think about that opening poem to the scriptures, that beautiful Hebrew poem that talks about Adam and how the ancients tried to understand, how did we get here? How did this start? How did it get created? And they put in this beautiful poetic language about Adam and Eve that we know. And in a perfect environment, when Adam had everything you could think a person would ever need or want, and yet God said, hey, you should not be alone. Like that is not good. Of all that's good in of the creation story, what's not good is for you to be alone. And so we get this big idea that we really, really, really need relationships. We really, really, really need the family relationship, chosen family and unchosen family. Let's put a picture up on the slide. This is my family. We're cornballs, all of us. We are super corny, and we don't apologize for that at all. But that is my wife, Rachel, and we have been married for 10 years. And yeah, heck yeah. 10 years. And my oldest son is Avery. He is 9 years old. He was not 9 in that picture, but he's 9 now. And Reese is 5 years old. And that's our family. And this is what my family looks like. I know that is not what everybody's family looks like. And I don't want to be ignorant of that. And I also want to be real clear just at the very top of this message. I'm a cisgendered guy, and my wife is a cisgendered lady, and we fell in love, and we had 2 beautiful kids. But I want to be real clear that some of the greatest families that I know are LGBTQ families who are raising amazing boys and girls to be amazing people in our community and in our families. Some of the sharpest and most wonderful families I know have 2 moms, and some of the sharpest and wonderful families that I know have 2 dads, and we believe that here at the Village Church, that is what my family looks like, and I get it. But that ain't what everybody's family looks like, and that's okay too. So I just want to be real clear off the top here, okay? So I kind of want to think about some snapshots of the family. You say, Ethan, you don't know my family. You don't know how dysfunctional my family is. Well, I might not, but I think that these are some good ideas that we all can take from here. And I don't think you're going to learn anything new today, but I think it's just good reminders for all of us. And I think about these snapshots of when a family is functioning well, when a family is functioning at its best, what does that look like, right? What does that look like? And I want to go through a few things, and we're going to start off to me, the first big idea is this. I think a family functions best when it resembles a filling station, right? Where family members can always be refueled and replenished. If you ask my boys if you wanted to go to the beach every day or if you wanted to go to the Quick Trip first thing in the morning, for the next week, what would you pick? And they would say, I want to go to the Quick Trip every morning because they think that's the greatest place in the world. And I got to be honest, the Quick Trip's an amazing place. You can go in there, they will make you food as you get your gas pumped. I think that is pretty cool. So we do that, and they think that's a big deal. But I think when a family functions best, it looks like a filling station. You tell me if this sounds familiar, because this can be my life sometimes. Tell me if this makes sense to you. The alarms go off 6 o'clock in the morning, right? Everybody rises from their sleep to meet their day, and each person is a little tired, but they're getting you're getting woken up, but your emotional tank feels pretty full. It's first thing in the morning. Your emotional tank is kind of on high, right? And one parent goes off to work at one time, and the other parent goes off to work at the other time, and the kids go off to the school bus, or if they go to separate schools, everybody goes their own separate way, right? And if the kids are older, maybe they head to college, if they're taking college classes, or if they've got a job, maybe they're heading off to the job, but we're all going our separate ways. And for the next 10 hours, that is a mix of fun, hopefully. It's a mix of work, challenges, disagreements, disappointments. Maybe you've got too much work on, you feel like it's just a burden that you're carrying. Maybe it's too much work that you got on you, or maybe the work that you're doing is boring, or supervisors who don't understand, or difficult people to deal with, difficult teachers to deal with if you're a student, difficult other students to deal with, difficult employees to deal with, maybe changes in codes that are affecting your job, or standardized testing if you're a kid and you don't really know what you're supposed to know, but you know that you've got to take a test, right? And because this is going to determine the future of your life, and you've got peer pressure that you've got to deal with, not just kids, but adults have peer pressure to deal with. People got bad attitudes. You've got to figure out how to deal with those bad attitudes. And you do that all in one day, and then all the family members return to home late in the afternoon, and everyone is emotionally exhausted. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? I mean, that describes our life. Most days, that describes what we deal with every day. And many people have the idea that maybe it's just one parent that has to kind of take on that burden of responsibility to be the refueler of the family. A lot of times it's the woman in our relationship. A lot of times that burden can get placed on Rachel for whatever reason. But what has been good to me is I want to think about the family relationship in another way, because what if each of us saw our house, saw our as a place where we could go when we were running low and we needed refueling, but also a place where we would daily look for ways to refuel other people, refuel my partner, refuel my kids. I love this scripture. Paul writes this in Galatians. He says, serve one another humbly in love. I mean, we just need to put that on a refrigerator. Serve one another humbly in love. And I'm not talking like a division of labor, although that's a good thing. We moved like a year ago. Rachel cut our grass once. She did good. She did good. She did pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. And the division of labor is a good thing. And I can't tell you what that is for you because you need to figure out your own rhythms of your family, and really you can figure that out. And division of labor, sure, that's a good thing. But I'm talking about more than that, really. I mean, I'm talking about actively looking for ways to really bless and refuel other family members. I know Rachel. I know what gives her fuel is when she is decorating our house for the different seasons. And buddy, if you don't think we don't have Halloween boxes and Valentine's Day boxes and Christmas boxes, you've not been to my house. But that's a big deal for her. Is that a big deal for me? No, it's not. But it is for you. And I know, and I can see that gives her fuel to do that, right? She loves putting together certain decorations, but then also to have like just gatherings at the house. We love when we have a good group of people over at the house, and I know that gives her fuel. But I also can tell when she is fatigued at times, and you live with someone long enough, you can tell that, all right? And I need to know what refuels her and then be willing to do that. Sometimes we'll just wake up on a Saturday morning and we just want to go, we just need to go walk around the shops for a little bit. We don't even need to buy anything, but we end up, you do sometimes. I mean, not all the time. It's not all the time, but sometimes you do. But it's just that we just wanted to be with each other, even with the boys. We just want to go walk around the shops. Hey, let's get up, let's get moving, let's go walk around the shops. And that just gives her fuel. I can see that. I also know about my wife is that she loves spending quality time. And whenever we can go find a new restaurant in town, an eclectic place, I know that gives her fuel, and we want to do that. Sometimes it's just an evening and just sitting on the sofa. Maybe we get into a show that we like or a documentary or something, and we get into it. We say, hey, let's do a couple episodes tonight. And I know that gives her refuel. That refuels her. We love playing board games. Some families get into playing like board games. But I look at my wife, and I know that gives her fuel when she can sit around with her two boys and with me, and we go play Yahtzee or we play Sorry or whatever, and that gives you fuel. And I see that, and I want to be aware of that, right? And this should be taught to our youngest children, that everyone is a member of the team. Everybody's a member of the team. And everyone can, some degree, refuel others and then also get refueled themselves. I think that's true about the church as well. Everybody here chose to be here this morning. You didn't have to. You could be anywhere in the world, and you chose to be here. And really, we believe that the Village is a chosen family. We think that more than anything in the world, that this is a chosen family. That you come here for refreshing, and we want to be a type of church that looks for ways to replenish others who are pulling into the parking lot on fumes. And we don't want to be ignorant of that. So I think the family, honestly, functions best when you think about it as a refueling station. Is that true for your family? I mean, these are good questions we need to ask ourselves. These are good questions we need to ask ourselves. Is your family a refueling station? First thing. Second thing is this. I think a family functions best when it resembles a storm shelter where family members can feel safe and secure. Things do not always go as planned. Can I get an amen? Yeah, they don't. Like nothing ever does. And so we need, I just get the sense that we need to feel protected. We have this human condition that we want to feel stable. We like stability. We like security. Proverbs says it like this in the New Living Translation. It goes, if you respect the Lord, you and your children have a strong fortress. Another translation says you have a place of refuge. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that a beautiful thought about your home, to be a place of refuge? Is that true for your house? And if not, can it be? And I think that it can, and I think that it can when we actually identify what storms are in our lives. Listen, these you know these. I don't think this is going to be new info for you, but let's just talk about just big storms that we face, that we all face. One is change. Change is a type of storm, right? Someone in the family gets sick. Someone in the family dies. It's never the same after that. Your kids grow older and they graduate from high school and they might go off to college or they might go get a job, but they're out of the house. That's different. That's change. You lose a job, change jobs, you move your house. Rachel and I moved about a year ago, and it was different. It was a change, and kind of rocked our world for a little while. You got to get used to things. So change certainly is a storm. We need to identify that, and we need to recognize that when it's happening. Second type of storm is this: failure. Failure is a storm. Man, we want to win, all right? I mean, that's what we want. I know, I do. I want to be successful. I want to win. But the truth is, it doesn't always happen like that, right? You get passed over for a promotion, and you think, God, I should have had that job, and you feel like a failure. Y'all, I was supposed to lead a meeting this week with people who I really love and respect, and it was on my calendar, and I totally didn't even do it. I didn't see it, and I missed it, and I was embarrassed, and I was the one leading the meeting, and it was on my calendar, and I just blew it. Like, I didn't even go, and then I got a text. I'm like, yeah, I should have been there. I should have been there, and it's like, the meeting started 30 minutes ago, and I'm like, crap. I mean, that was a fail, and I felt it was embarrassing for me. That was bad. I hate that, and I bet you do too. I mean, we do these things sometimes, and you're like, what are you doing? Solomon writes this in Ecclesiastes 4. He goes, 2 are better than 1 because they have a good return for their work, and if one falls down, his friend can help him up. But pity the man who falls and has no one to help him up. Also, if 2 lie down together, they'll keep warm, but how can one keep warm alone? Failure is a storm, and the family should be a place of refuge for that. Another type of storm is this: rejection. Rejection is a storm. This is probably the most difficult storm to handle. We hate to be rejected. We hate to be put down. We hate to be ridiculed. We hate to be criticized. I think about the playground for kids. You never want to be picked last. But even when you start the games, it's interesting to me that even all the kids' games that they play, the goal in most kids' games is to get home. Isn't that right? You ever notice that? The goal of most kids' games is to get home. Because when you're home, you're safe, right? This is why I think divorce is painful, because in the marriage relationship, that is a place of acceptance. That is a place where you, for the most part, at least how it started, that you felt loved, you felt accepted. That was a safe place for you. But that place of acceptance can become a place of rejection, and the shelter from the storm actually becomes the storm. That's hard, and that's tough. Ecclesiastes says this, continuing on. It says, though one may be overpowered, 2 people can defend themselves, and a cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken. And I think it's just this. We say this a lot of times. You hear that scripture at weddings a lot of time. But I think it's true for the family that when we fall, it's good to have a safe place to land, a soft place to land. Rachel and I, she just went on a work trip this past week and had some really good information. And we talked about it a little bit last night. She talked about emotional safety. This was new for me. This was literally yesterday. She talked about emotional safety, an idea that I don't even think I've had ever really even wrestled with until she mentioned it to me. And we talked about a few things about emotional safety, especially, we've got 2 boys that we're raising. And if you don't have kids, it doesn't matter. Whatever your scope of influence is, I think this is important information to know. She talked about this, about emotional safety. How do we provide this for our kids? How do we provide this for people who we are influencing? And the first thing she said is that we should always lead in grace, and we should follow in truth. That should be the example that we set for our kids. We lead in grace, that we don't punish the emotional response, because it's easy to do that. That we have to enter into our kids' world. When they have an emotional response, we need to enter into their world and look at them and understand where the emotion is coming from, because our kids, just like adults, we tell ourselves stories. You ever gotten in a fight with your spouse, with your partner? And either, maybe you've just made up an entire story in your head that you think is true, but in actuality is not true. I've done that. I get mad at Rachel and I'll tell myself this whole story, and I'm like, I can't believe that. And she's like, wait, whoa. None of that has happened. None of that happened, right? And our kids do that too. They tell themselves stories, and we have to listen to their stories, and we have to lead them in truth. Second thing is this about emotional safety. That we talk about emotions, right? We talk about emotions. That our kids need help labeling what they're feeling, and we bind together what they are experiencing and how to express it. That's what we try to do. And you know what? Bedtime is one of the most helpful times to get our kids to talk about their emotions. And my wife is so good at that. And she puts the kids down to bed to really talk, to hear, to feel. What are your emotions? Do you do that at your house with your partner, with your spouse, with your kids? We should do that. A third thing quickly about emotional safety is this: we need to celebrate who they are, and we need to not mourn who they're not. Does that make sense? Celebrate who they are. And this could be for kids, but it can also be for your partner. Celebrate your partner. Don't mourn for who they're not, right? And what's so often annoying to us about our kids is those are the things that maybe they're passionate about. You know what I mean? I mean, my son can take my phone and get on TikTok. Well, TikTok is a fun little app, and he makes these amazing videos. I don't even know how to. I barely know how to turn the app on. Like, literally, you're just supposed to push it, and it goes. But he makes these amazing videos, and I look at him, and I'm like, what's he doing with my phone? And then I see that he makes these cool videos. I'm like, dude, I can never do that. And my first reaction is, please get off my phone. Like, I need to make a phone call. Please get off my phone. But then I see what he does, and I'm like, that's awesome. That's so cool. Celebrate who they are. Fourth thing is this: right your wrongs. Rachel and I don't do everything. We don't do a lot of things right. But I think one thing that we do get is we have learned to apologize to our kids when we need to apologize to our kids. Because if you get the emotional safety thing right 2 out of the 5 times, they're going to be okay. And what I've learned is our kids they're tough, they're smart, and they know how to forgive too. They know how to forgive too. And that repair is important in a relationship, and repair can mean asking for forgiveness. All right. Fifth thing is this, real quick: prioritize who you are becoming. I need to prioritize who I'm becoming, because my kids, a lot of times, our kids become who we are. And if we watch 24-hour news cycles all the time, we become that. We become ugly, right? And we don't want our kids. I don't want my kids. There's enough nastiness in the world. They don't need help with that. You know what I mean? So we need to work on prioritize who we are becoming. And as a Christian family of faith, our goal every day is to be more like Jesus. Every day, that's the goal. Whether we get it right or we fail, and we'll do both of those things, that is the goal. And so we need to prioritize who we're becoming. I want to always be in tune with storms happening, not just in my life, but in my family members' life. And when they're going through a storm, I think the home should be a safe place where they can retreat to for rest and reflection and love. Third thing is this. Take a snapshot of this. I think my family functions best when it resembles a learning center where family members acquire the most important life lessons. And this is a two-way street. You know this. You've got to instruct. If you've got kids that you're raising, you instruct them. But you also need to learn as well. Luke writes this about Jesus. He goes, Jesus grew in wisdom and stature and in favor with God and with man. The whole idea is Jesus grew. Jesus grew. All right. And I was crazy lucky to grow up in the house that I grew up in, to have the dad that I have, To have my mom is here. She's on the front row. To have my mom be the mom that she is. I was really, really lucky. And I understand that not everybody has that. But I was taught some really, really good things that I try to pass on to my kids. And these are just kind of a couple big ideas. Again, I don't think it's going to be new, but I want us to think about these things because I believe they're most important. These are some things that I was taught as a kid, and I want to pass it on to my kids. One is how to thrive in relationships. And we take that, even at a young age, we take this real seriously at the house because we believe that I just believe happiness in life depends to a large degree on your ability to get along with people, how you hash out problems. Do you learn to ask for forgiveness? Do I burn bridges? If I look back at relationships that maybe I don't have anymore, am I the problem? Because I could be. Do I burn bridges, right? Do I apologize first or wait for the other person to make the first move? I always want my boys to see what it looks like to participate in a vibrant and healthy relationship because we believe relationships matter a lot. How are you doing with that? We need to ask ourselves these questions. Another thing I was taught was just about good character. We all were taught this, but this is big for me. Like, what's your character? Because I think character is caught more than it's taught. Does that make sense? Like, I don't sit down with a whiteboard with my boys and say, you need to be nice, to people. It's just they watch their dad and their mom and their grandparents and their friends. And character is caught more than it's taught. Right? When I'm talking with Rachel, do I explode with anger? Is that my first reaction? Do I explode with anger? Or do we talk it out? Do we use reason? Right? Do I wake up every day and do I put in the work? Do I put in work that makes me proud? Do I get up and go to work and do a work that makes me proud? Or do I constantly coast through life? Because my kids will see that. And I ask myself those questions. Do I pout when I lose? That's a big no-no in our house. That don't happen. No pouting. Do I whine if things don't go our way? Number one rule in my house is no whining. We got way too much to be grateful for. And we got to watch that. Who and what do I say yes to? Because if you say yes to one thing, you're saying no to something else, right? And your kids, they're smart. They're so smart. They know when you say yes to one thing, and that means you say no to something else, and maybe it's no to them, right? And it's always a balance that we walk. But ultimately, when we think about character, we talk about how does God, what's God's character? What is God's character? How does God feel about the person that's farthest away from God? How does God feel about the shamed? Well, we believe that God clothes the naked. What does God feel about the immigrant? Well, Jesus says when you welcome the immigrant, you welcome me. That's godly character. Well, what does God think about the underdog? Well, Jesus would tell stories about sheep that are lost that the shepherd went to go find. And sons who were lost that the father would go and find. We think that's the character that we want to teach our kids, and we want to be sure that we're teaching them that, at the house. And all through the scriptures, we see a God who actively pursues the most vulnerable in our society, and I want my boys to do the same. This is part of character, but it's values. We think values are important. Isaiah says this, each generation can make known your faithfulness to the next, that your family is a relay race, right? I've got Avery and Reese, and we're running the race, and we're going to pass them the baton, and maybe one day they'll have kids of their own, or they'll have their own family, whatever that will look like, but they're carrying the baton. And then they'll pass on the baton as well. And that's what we do in our family. That's what you do in your family. I get the sense in our culture that nihilism, do y'all know what nihilism is? It's this philosophy that nothing matters. Nihilism, nothing matters, right? What's the point of anything? Nothing matters. I get this notion, I get the sense that has crept into our culture, that has crept into, I think it's really crept into Christianity in a lot of ways, right? And we got to fight against that. We got to fight against that. You say, what's important to your family? This is what we teach that's important to our family. We believe in each other, and we encourage each other in our family. We try to be as best we can. We try to be true to the teachings of Jesus in our family. We don't always get that right. And when we get it wrong, we try to recognize that and do better. But we think that that's really important to teach our kids. Rachel and I, we give money. We give money to this church. We give money to organizations that we think are important because they are doing the good work, things that we're not, maybe not are great at, but we want our kids to see that living this life ain't all about just making money. You know what I mean? If you've got some, give it away. That's what we would encourage you to do. In our family, we fight for the poor and we fight for the underdog. Those are really, really big things in our family. We work hard. We expect success. We don't always get success, but we work hard. And we're loyal to our family. Our family, we like to party. Shoot. I mean, you know, we like to have a good time. You know what I mean? We like to have a good time. And we want our boys to see that. Well, we like expanding. Man, it's, in our house growing up, my dad, I'd come home and there'd be somebody new living with us. That's just how it was. You wake up, they're going to live with us for the next little while. Right? We want to expand our family with some adopted members. We teach our kids to work through our glitches that, you know, your mom and dad aren't perfect. All right? And we've got things that we try to work through, and we want them to know that. We want our boys to think before we speak. We want our boys to understand what it means to give people space when they need it. We want our boys to understand that people are more important than things, that words can hurt, and that ultimately love always wins. Those are values that we think are most important in our family. So, a learning center, a refueling station, a storm shelter, a learning center. This is another little snapshot that I think the family is at its best when it resembles a joyful, happy place of play. I think that. A lot of people can take that learning point that we just went over and then think the home is a boot camp. Yeah? And I bet some of you might even grow up in homes like that. Ecclesiastes, I love Solomon. He goes this. He says this in Ecclesiastes 9:9. He says, enjoy life with your wife or your partner whom you love. Enjoy life. And I can tell you, especially during the summertime when my boys get that glazed over look and they're just they're just bored out of their mind. Which, by the way, this is a side note. I think Christmas toys are like New Year's resolutions because after January, they're never used again, but that's just a little sidebar. But they get that look on their face where they're just like bored, and I'm like, oh my God. And my dad used to say something. He would say, move a muscle, and that'll change a mood. Say it with me. Move a muscle, change a mood. One more time. Move a muscle, change a mood. And when my dad used to say that to me as a kid, I'd be like, oh my God. So lame. Stop saying it. But now I say it because it's so true. You move a muscle, we get up. You know what's free? Taking your kids to a state park. And I bet you live close to one because they're all over the place. Take your kids to a state park and go walk some trails. And I promise you, their whole attitude about being little bored little kids will change. You move a muscle, you change a mood. We play basketball together. When we bought our house, the very first thing I wanted to do was put a basketball goal in our driveway because we're going to play basketball for a little bit. Right? We play wiffle ball together. We play frisbee together. We go swimming. We tell jokes as a family. We try to sing together. Music is real big in our family. We want to make sure that our kids understand the importance of making music together and singing together. And now the boys are getting older and they're getting into extracurricular activities like sports and music and life. In our house, we always want to treat it as fun. It should not be drudgery. The family shouldn't be drudgery. And I know that there are outside circumstances that affect every family, and life is really hard. Life is really, really hard. It's also not fair, right? And we don't want to ignore that. But the family should be a place of joy, a happy place of joy. It's one of my favorite quotes of all time. A guy named Harmon Killebrew, who played way before I was even alive. But if you're a baseball nerd, you know who Harmon Killebrew is. He played for the Minnesota Twins in the 50s, 60s, 70s. He says this, he goes, my father used to play with my brother and me in the yard, and mother would come out and say, you're tearing up the grass. Well, we're not raising grass, my dad would reply, we're raising boys. I think that's a great quote, right? That's a great quote. We're not raising grass, we're raising boys. That's awesome. And y'all, it's easy to be so negative. It's easy to slant. Social media doesn't help this. It is so easy to just to go negative for your first, just about anything, right? And to allow that negativity to creep into your life, into your heart, into your family, right? And I get frustrated. I get frustrated with Christians. I get frustrated with progressive Christians who are all doom and gloom all the time. And I'm like, no, it is not dooming. Jesus tells the parable of wheat and weeds, and they grow up together. And sometimes the only thing that we focus on is the weed. But I'm telling you, there is good wheat that's being grown every day all around you if we have eyes to see. Right? It is not all doom and gloom. When I look at my kids, when I look at my boys, I see a new generation that is going to change the world for good. I see that. I don't like all the negative crap that we post, man. I get so frustrated. And is there a lot of bad stuff happening in this world? Yeah, there is. Our political climate is a disaster in a lot of ways. I get it. But life is too good and too short for that to be your gear that you always flip to is the negatives. Too short for that. We got to do better. And I want our house to be a happy place, a place of joy, where they can take that on and hopefully pass it on to their kids. Last thing is this, we'll wrap up. I think the family functions best when it is a launching pad, and a launching pad for a good life. I think of the early church. Paul writes this, 1 Corinthians, he goes, you know that the household of Stephen were the first converts in Achaia, and they have devoted themselves to the service of the saints. It's like Paul was going around to all these different places, and he was launching these churches, and it's like, yeah, this started in this guy's house. He was the first convert, and then it has just exploded, and now we're over here, and you know what I mean? But he's got all these little homes and all these little towns that he's launching this new revolution. I ask myself often, what is my role for my kids? Or really for anyone who I have influence over. Well, what is your role for that? Is it to be a stern dictator that it's, my way or the highway? Or is it to be as little involved as possible and they'll figure it out? I think primarily it is to see myself as a launching pad for these rockets of good to discover and explore the wonder and beauty of this world. Last year, my oldest son, Avery, he got this idea. He wanted to, the birthday money that he would get, and he always gets some birthday money, he wanted to give that away to an organization that we love called Safe House. Now, we didn't tell him to do that. That was totally on his own volition. He said, I want to give the money that I get for my birthday, I want to give it to Safe House. And we said, okay, that's a great idea. And we think that's awesome. But we helped him run with it. He had the idea, and we said, okay, if you want to do it, let's run with it. And his mom helped him make a cool little video just on her, get a little Apple computer, and she just made this cool little video with Avery talking about what he wanted to do. And it's just this fun little thing that we didn't hardly think anything of. We thought his grandparents would think that'd be a great idea and give him an extra $20 or something. And he wanted to raise $500. That's a pretty big deal for an 8-year-old. I guess he was 8 at the time, 8 or 9 at the time. $500. Well, and then he raised $1,000. And then he raised like $2,500. And we're like, as much as we get wrong, we got that right, we feel like, we just like, he's good, And there is good all around the world. And it really starts, we think, with the family. Because I would have never considered anything like that as a kid, ever. I would have been the farthest thing away from anything I ever would have done. And I know that family, the word family, it's such a loaded word. I get it, because every one of us has our own unique experience of what it means to be a part of a family. And for some of you, it's a word that brings you comfort and security and love. You had an amazing family experience growing up. And for others, it's a word that brings shame and it brings guilt. And for most people, it's somewhere in between that. And I just believe that it is the most important of all relationships that we have. It's a chosen relationship for us here. It's an unchosen relationship for what you're born into. And I think we just have to honestly evaluate how we're doing. Is my family, is my house a fueling station for every member? Oh, yeah. We got some. And I told Neil, I said, hey, I just want you to run some families here at the village. And we got some really cool families. We didn't get everybody. If we missed you, I'm sorry, but this is what families look like, This is what families look like. And we want to think, are we doing everything that we can? Is my house a fueling station for every member? Is my house a safe place? Is it safe from the difficulties that we will face in this life? We will face them. Is my house, are we learning the important things in life? Are we teaching the important things in life? Are we learning to be more like Jesus every day? Are we teaching our kids to be more like Jesus every day? Is your family a place that has joy? Is it a happy place? Is it happy? And are we launching a new generation of good in the world? Is our house, would you consider our house like a launching pad for another generation? Listen to me, you are beautifully and wonderfully made, every one of you, whether you feel it or not. And I know many days I don't feel like that, but I do believe the promises of the Scriptures and that you are beautifully and wonderfully made, just exactly how you are. We think that this chosen family is one of the most amazing things in all the world. This church, we think, is the most amazing place in all the world. And when you leave here and you go to your house, go to your home, we don't think it's any different. We think your home is the most beautiful place in all the world. I believe that. We work on this every day. You won't. I wish I could just snap my fingers and I get all this, and I don't. But I want us to be better. I want us to do better. I want us to get better every day. Would you pray with me? Let's bow our heads. God, we love you so much. Thank you for this church. Thank you for who you are. Thank you that you lead us and guide us in paths that are good for us. God, thank you for the family. The family is so complex, and every family is different. But God, you embrace all of that. You embrace all of it. You tell us that we're good. So God, when we fail, we ask for forgiveness. When we get it right, we want to remember that so we can keep doing the good things and teach our kids a better way to be. And I thank you for your Spirit. I pray every day that our eyes are opened to all that's good in this world and our hearts are soft for all that's good in this world. Only way we know how to do it. Be with us, oh God. We love you. We pray all these things in Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you, guys. Yeah, I'll do one thing. So last week I introduced you to my buddy John. Is John here? I think he was trying to be here. I don't know if he was able to make it today. So John, where's he at? Oh, John, come here, man. Come here. So, John, Rachel and I lived in East Point for 7 or 8 years, and John lived right across the street from us. And are you 18 yet? Almost. He's almost 18. And he is on the home stretch to becoming an Eagle Scout, which is like the coolest thing in the world. So y'all give it up for John to be doing that. And to be an Eagle Scout, one of the things that he was doing is in the community, he started collecting professional attire for just those that are less fortunate, who might need like job clothes or interview clothes. And so we mentioned it last week, and y'all have showed up in like really an amazing way. I just look back and all of the bins are like filled up. So thank you for that. What do you want to? Is there something that we need to add or anything, or what do you need? What else do you need from us?
I'm very thankful for what you guys were able to donate to my projects, and if you have anything else, then please feel free to come next Sunday here and donate anything else that you have, and I'm just very appreciative of how you were able to assist me.
Awesome. We love you, man. Good luck, buddy. We love you so much. Oh, Davita, come on, girl. This is his beautiful mama. This is Davita. Come on up, Davita. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you again so much for your donations. We're so appreciative, but also we wanted to let you know, he's got a few more flyers here. We're doing another collection site today at the Atlanta Firehouse number 5. That's at, I'm sorry,
Where
get
is
it right.
that?
2825 Campbellton Road, Southwest Atlanta. That's the Firehouse number 5.
Cool.
And also, he's collecting through his grandmother's church with his First Baptist Church of East Point. That is at
Where's that? I know where that is.
2813 East Point Street. It's right in downtown
Yes.
East Point. And that will be through the week up until next Sunday.
Cool.
So you can donate there every day.
So if you didn't bring anything today, go to those two spots. Go to
Yes.
Firehouse number 5 in Atlanta on Campbellton Road, and go to East Point Baptist Church, which is right
East Point Street.
Yeah, right on East Point Street. Would y'all give it up for my man John again? Thank y'all so much. Yeah, love it, love you, love it. Love you, believe it. All right, John, thank you, buddy. All right, Elena, bring us home, girl.
Thank you. Yeah, perfect. And we'll make sure too to get the flyer information on our Facebook page so everybody can view that. And Ethan, thank you so much. This is a refueling place for us. So we always feel replenished and refueled after coming today. So when you're talking about emotional support, I thought about my wife and I have an emotional wheel at the house. It's laminated, it's on our refrigerator. So anytime we're working through something and we need to talk about our feelings, we grab our wheel and we have to pick a feeling on the wheel. It helps when you're not very good about talking about feelings. So just made me think of that. She's gonna kill me for sharing that. Love you, honey. But no, now's the time that we have the opportunity, like Ethan was saying, Rachel and Ethan give here, but they give to other places to help support things that they believe in, things that they believe that can make a difference. And here at the Village, we're not a church that's supported by external things in the community, right? We exist because we give here. We exist because we believe in something bigger than ourselves in this place. And so those of you who are able to give in a monetary way, we don't take it lightly. This allows us to keep our lights on and allows us to continue to have a chosen family like here at the Village. So if you feel like that is something that just motivates you and you want to be part of that, there's 3 ways that you can do and give to the church, and one of them is electronically. Rachel's already in the back ready to receive you. She has a beautiful neon pink shirt. She can take care of you at the electronic kiosk. The other way you can give is through phone. You can text 404-998-8979, and you can text that you want to give in the amount, or you can visit thevillageatlanta.com/give. And then the last way that we can give here at the Village is through cash or coin. So, and ushers, come on up and we will receive y'all. While they're doing that, I just have a few announcements, so bear with me here. Coming up this Friday, Valentine's Day evening, February 14th at 7 o'clock, we are having a cooking class / Valentine's Day dinner. We have 30 slots available. It's $35 per person, and I don't know if has anyone done a cooking class before? Raise your hands, anyone? It sounds amazing. I've never done one, but I've looked them up for like date night for my wife and I before. Normally, it's like a minimum of $60 a person, and normally you don't really get to eat everything that you make or anything like that, but you're gonna get to eat everything that you make, and you get to do it for $35 a person. I think that's an incredible value. Just to go over some of the things on the menu, there's going to be a Valentine's Day salad with strawberry, Parmesan, and balsamic vinegar. There'll be heart-shaped butternut squash ravioli with brown butter sage sauce. My mouth is salivating. I have not eaten yet today. Old-fashioned Italian stuffed artichokes, chicken frangelico, and then there's going to be dessert, and we're also going to be popping bottles of champagne. So now, I know that Rachel had come up and spoke about it. I know I missed last Sunday, but she was telling everybody we were going to get Eventbrite up and we were going to be able to register through there. Unfortunately, we're not able to do that due to us discounting this at such a great rate. We can't put it publicly. So if this is something that really is speaking to you and you want to be part of, she has volunteered to be somebody that the liaison to help you get registered for it. And obviously take the payment to hold your spot. So if Rachel will just stand up for a second, everyone wave. She was singing earlier. She sang awesome last night at Eddie's Attic. We are so in love with Rachel and her voice. It's awesome. After Valentine's Day, we will have a rest day at church. So we will not be meeting here on Sunday, February 16th. So when is rest day? Awesome. So we will not be here next weekend, right? Awesome. After that Sunday, guys, it's Safe House. So I know this creeps up on us and we're not going to meet, so we have to remember this into the following week. But Safe House is every month, it's the third Thursday, unless we tell you otherwise. So it's going to be the 20th of February. We meet there at 6 o'clock. Neil is preparing the meal this time, which I'm super stoked for. He's helping me out because I'm in charge of making sure we have food and making sure we have people who can help. So if you have it on your heart that you want to serve and spend time with people who are less fortunate, we would love to have you guys. It's an amazing experience. We normally go and grab a dinner together afterwards and just fellowship. There's a sign-up list in the back where Rachel is standing currently. You can sign up there, and we will be in touch via text as well as our Facebook group. So we'd love to have you guys assist in that. Last but not least, we have a movie night coming up. I'm not going to mess this one up. It's March 13th. It's going to be Friday the 13th. I don't think we've selected a movie just yet, as of what Neil has told me. So I will let you know as it gets closer to the day what we're going to be watching, but we hope that you guys come and join us. This is a great opportunity to invite people outside of the Village family so that they can see this space, but they can also see the hearts of the family that you have here inside this building. So we would love for you guys to invite other people who maybe not partake in church with us. We'd love to meet them. So those of you who are first-time visitors, we hope you continue to come back. Those who are watching online, we hope you get back on and watch again, not next Sunday, but the following Sunday. We love you guys. Have an amazing Sunday.